Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.
And welcome back to another episode of Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook. Kelly, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Elizabeth, how are you
Always
today?
a great day. I'm good. I am fabulous.
It's
I
nice
did
and
yoga
bright,
this
sunny
morning.
outside.
It's sunny. It's cold, but it's sunny. So there's that. And I'm sure in Arizona, it's a lot warmer than it is here.
Yeah, I think it's about 72 right now or something like that.
Oh, I'm very jealous. That's my
Not bad.
favorite temperature. So today we have somebody else from Arizona with us, and her name is Allie. She is on Kelly's team. She has been in real estate for about 5 years now. I think this is your 6th year, right, Allie?
Yep.
So she is going to get into, what it takes to really take your career from just starting out, right, to kind of elevate it rather quickly. I mean, really, you haven't been in the business that long and doing really, really well. So, Kelly, take it away. What do we need to know from Allie? What do our viewers need to know from Allie in order to kickstart their careers in real estate?
Yeah, I'm really excited about this one because Allie is one of my favorites. She's awesome. Not just as an agent, obviously, but as a person. And Allie is at the point of her career now where, I mean, she has been for a little while here, where she could do whatever she wants, right? In the business, and the world is her oyster, if you will, I guess, right? It might be like kind of an old person saying, but I just said that. I don't know. I don't know
It's okay. It's still used.
But yeah, people understand what I mean. But I think there's too much. There's not enough, I should say. Not enough information or data out there from the people, gurus or podcasts or books even, on really encouraging stories and nuts and bolts too, by the way, of someone who started out just very humbly and just grew methodically through the years her real estate business. And so a lot of people, have missed expectations. A lot of people think that it's going to be easy and they'll be a millionaire in day one. All these things that are just crazy. Like when you watch Selling New York and HGTV or whatever, right? It's not like that. It just isn't, right? Maybe for 0.001% of the agent population out there, maybe, but that's it. So I want to have Allie on today to give some encouragement and kind of hear her story for those of you out there who maybe are a little newer, maybe a year or two in the game, and maybe are struggling, maybe not, but you can get some good ideas from Allie too, as well, potentially, right, on what you could do to succeed. So, Allie, we got your background a little bit, right? We know your time in the business.
Yes.
But if you could just give us a quick background of yourself and kind of what you're doing, where you're from, what you're doing prior to real estate, and that sort of thing, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So I'm from Arizona. I'm a native here. Graduated from University of Arizona. Immediately after college, I majored in journalism, but I decided to come back to Phoenix and go into sales. And so that wasn't really the route that I had planned. But I think at that point, right after college, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do. So got into sales at Yelp and was there for 2.5 years doing full-blown sales, cold calling. Kind of worked my way up a little bit there, and actually spoke with a realtor while I was at Yelp and kind of got more familiar with the business as an agent. And I really liked the idea of how much control she had over her business, kind of when I was, um, you know, talking to her about advertising with Yelp. And so um, that's kind of what sparked my interest, along with I just like liking homes and kind of looking at purchasing a home myself. But I think just knowing myself and my strengths and what as an individual, I thought that real estate kind of the best route for me to take at that point. So I got my license while I was still working full time, and then um, I think the biggest thing for newer agents is setting yourself up for success before you actually even get your license. That I think I did pretty well, looking back now. But I was really committed, so I knew that I was in control of essentially how that was, how my first year in real estate was going to go. And so saved up a lot of money. I kind of prepared myself, and I knew that if I was going to fail, it was going to be because of me. It wasn't going to be because of the market or anything else or real estate. It was going to be because I didn't do what I was capable of. And so that that's kind of what led me into real estate and just using my experience from sales in general, and now I'm here. So
Well, that's okay. There's a couple things that impact, I think, there a little further. Number one, I know this about you, but like you also were an athlete, right?
yes, yep.
And what'd you do?
I was a gymnast for 14 years. I did collegiate gymnastics, and that I think sports and being a gymnast and the standards that I was held to throughout gymnastics kind of shaped who I was as a human, and the standards that I knew I was going to hold myself to in my career. Once I stopped gymnastics, that wasn't going to change. So that definitely played a role in, I think, in my success.
No doubt about it. I think that that's something that people gloss over a lot of times. Not that you have to be an elite athlete or do it at like the professional or super high level, but just having that discipline, daily discipline, right, of getting up and going somewhere when you don't want to do something that it maybe is super fun or maybe just kind of fun. You just do it for the competition, but you're competing right against yourself and of course other people. And I think that sets you up huge in life for anything you do,
For
let alone
anything.
sales.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's not surprising me now, fast forward, that you chose to go into sales out of college at Yelp, right? How'd that come to be real quick?
I just went to a career fair and
Good old career
met
fairs.
met with quite a few companies, and I had actually had a job offer to do broadcast journalism in like the middle of nowhere, Missouri, right out of college, producing a morning show. So I would have been working overnight, and my whole family's in Arizona at that time. I think I was like 22. I was not super appealing, to be honest. So I was like, just move back to Phoenix, find something kind of, and I thought it was just going to be a short term thing before I went back to journalism. And then I think it all worked out the way that it was supposed to. So very
I,
grateful for that. Mhm.
yeah, heck yeah. And so you're at Yelp, and it's going well, or just going at least, right? And you're maybe enjoying parts of it, I imagine. But what you met somebody right when you're at Yelp, and that kind of sparked the interest. What was the number one reason that you wanted to? Because here's the deal: there are people right now listening to this podcast. I guarantee it that maybe they're full time in real estate or not, but they're like thinking they should get into it, and but they don't really know where to go or what to do. And so I got two questions: what made you want to jump into it? I know you mentioned control. Was there anything else? And then second is, you mentioned setting yourself up for success. How?
Mhm. So getting into it, I mean, I'll be honest, it wasn't that like it was my dream job to to be a realtor. Um I just liked, I knew that I wanted like a sense of freedom in terms of managing my own time. I knew that I was working incredibly hard at Yelp. Um and not, you were commission based, and but I knew my potential was much greater for, not being in a corporate world. And I liked just connecting with people, and I realized that in real estate, like you're not really selling homes, you're kind of selling yourself and like your ability to
Huge.
connect with people and help them. So that was an aspect that attracted me to real estate. And then, as a new agent, I knew I kind of, from talking to other people at different brokerages, when I was deciding, once I got licensed, they said you could take up to 6 months before you get a paycheck. And so hearing that, I was, why would I get into real estate and not prepare myself and have 6 months of savings? That, right there again is in my control. I can do that. And so I made sure I had at least 6 months of all expenses because I wanted to give myself the best chance to succeed. Um, and I was very diligent and disciplined in like my spending and holding myself accountable for those first 6 months. And I closed my first deal in 4 months. And from that point on, I've been I think, very, very consistent. Um, and, again, just everything going back to being in control and holding yourself accountable.
That's awesome. I love that story. I mean, I just love it, right? Because it's so true. It's almost like you can't mess it up if you just kind of do those certain things. Like you put the cornerstone down first, the foundation of the house, where you build the walls, right?
Right.
Um, Love that. So now you're in real estate. You're new, right? And not sure totally what to do yet, but you're figuring some things out. What is that agent now? If they're going to be like Allie Myers 5 years from now, what what's the one thing they can start doing today and furthermore in their career to try to get to your level?
Yeah. Well, I think a huge part of my success was being on your team and being around other, the agents on our team. I would not be where I am, obviously without being on your team, and I wouldn't still be here if, 6 years later. So that's a huge part. You have to surround yourself with people that are going to hold you accountable and are kind of already where you want to be. Um, and then the second thing is just willing to be uncomfortable. I think there's a direct correlation with success with how willing you are to get out of your comfort zone. And being a new agent, you don't learn anything in school that you're going to actually use in
Hmm.
real life. And so I was uncomfortable every single day. I was having conversations that I felt I really actually didn't know anything about because I hadn't done any real estate yet. But I just was okay with not knowing and pushing myself to get out of my comfort zone and figure it out along the way. And I think that's something that you have to be willing to do in order to set yourself up for success, especially in the beginning.
Yeah, you mentioned the word earlier, consistency, right? And if there's one word I would use to describe you, knowing you, is that. And guys, and so like Allie, for the first year or two actually of her career, she when you talk about lead generating and making contacts, because real estate's a contact sport, she did that, right? She was in there in the mornings, 1 hour in, and a lot of times it wasn't like it was like an hour 20 this day, an hour 45 that way. It was literally an hour, like maybe an hour two, right? But here's the thing: it was never less than 59 minutes either. So that is called consistency, and it's you heard her right. Still took 4 months, and she's good, and it still took 4 months. But then all of a sudden, it started compounding that effort, right, in your database and working your database and being consistent, touching and reaching out to people all the time, right? Is that
Right.
would you say that's true? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I think even in my business today, there's still aspects that I still do that I did on day one in terms of being consistent. I may not do as many outbound and prospecting because I've kind of built up a database, but the same, follow up calls to people that I originally talked to 3 years ago, but haven't transacted yet or haven't found a house yet or moved here yet. I'm still doing those things, on a daily basis that I did in the very beginning. So, and all I truly did was not overcomplicate it, just trusted the process. And I knew, okay, if they say I make 20 contacts a day and that will lead to, appointment and then to, this, and this, if I do that and trust that, and I knew I could because I set myself up in the beginning. I said I have 6 months. So if I just trust the process and do the work, that's all I can control. And it ended up working out and things played out, exactly kind of how I was told.
yeah. Was there when you first started real estate? Was there a plan B?
No.
Oh, I love that. Burn the bridges, right? There was
Yep.
no going back. Like, I'm gonna make this work, otherwise I don't know what I'm gonna do, right? And that's a place of motivation and I think a healthy fear, right? A healthy
Yeah,
fear. And that's a
definitely.
good place to be in.
Definitely. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so now fast forward in your career, you're full 5 years in and starting the 6th year. And I'm gonna say that you probably don't regret much of it, right? Because you've done awesome.
No, yeah.
Um, so now what let me ask you this question. Did you felt you work harder back when you were in year one or harder now? Or is it maybe a different type of work?
I would say it's actually I feel like I work a little bit harder now, to be honest. Just with well, because you get more clients and sometimes deals are more complicated or whatever. Then I guess in the beginning, naturally you may not be as busy because you just don't have as many clients.
Right.
So it's a different, yeah. So I guess it would more so be a different type of work. The market right now here in Arizona, if anyone's heard, is absolutely crazy. So that
Crazy.
it's way different from than from when I started. Um, 2017. So that's played a role in my business as well. So yeah, I would say it's just a different type of work, maybe.
Okay, got it. And just a couple more questions here, Ali, because you guys know we like to hit it hard and hit it quick for just about 10 to 15 minutes and give you guys some nuts and bolts. If you could give yourself one piece of advice for what you know now to Ali of 5 to 6 years ago, what would that be?
Good question. um, I would say, I mean, along with trusting the process, I mean, looking back now, like give yourself, like bet on yourself, like lay it all, give it all that you have. Like if you don't succeed in real estate, don't leave knowing it's because of something you didn't do. Um, I never regret, the all the hard work and the long hours, and especially in the beginning, you might work 2 weeks straight. You will never regret that, knowing that like you gave it everything that you had, and yeah, I mean, I think just uh, holding yourself accountable, pushing yourself even when you don't want to, and out of your comfort zone. Um, yeah, that's what I'd say.
Okay, that's good. That's I mean that's really good advice. If you could choose a podcast or a book, what would you do?
Someone's probably said it on here, but Bigger Pockets, of course, is another a
Podcast.
podcast. Yes,
Great podcast, by the way, right? I mean,
yes,
there's some really good stuff on there. And okay, so on podcast, you would choose podcast over a book if you could only choose one.
I would. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if it's my generation or the instant gratification type, but I love listening to podcasts that have authors on and they kind of talk about the book and it's the bullet points. I also love Ed Milet's podcast. I don't know if you've heard of him.
That's okay.
um, Lewis House, School of Greatness. They bring a lot of different types of people on, business people. I like listening to things outside of real estate or just how other people have built businesses. Mindset is a huge thing, and I think that's a huge role in real estate and a part of your success. So yeah,
So you do educate, right?
every single day.
Weird.
Yeah, listen,
Weird.
I think that if you're in the car or every time I walk my dog, I'm listening to a podcast or an audiobook. Why would you not? Like that's just wasted time. Like there's a time and place for music, but like not that much time. You should probably just listen to a podcast.
That's why I
Exactly.
like podcasts too instead of books, because you can multitask while
Yes.
you can be driving or walking your dog or doing laundry. That's usually when I listen to podcasts, but just
Yeah.
so much more. It's just easier to get the information.
Yes.
Yeah. Now,
100%.
unless you do Audible, right, Elizabeth, then you can actually listen to a book,
True.
which is what I do now, anyways, right? Let's
Which is
be honest,
basically a
right?
podcast at that point.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. And I coined this phrase a long time ago, blank university, right? So laundry university, gym or weight room university, drive university, right? We all have a university right here on our iPhones that arguably is more important than the university we all spent 4 or 5 years at, right? Or in my case, maybe 5.5. No, I'm just kidding. That was graduate school. Come on, guys, don't be mean to me. All right, Allie. So I really appreciate the time today. That was fantastic. Um, and I hope you're an inspiration to anybody out there, right? Who's especially newer in real estate, but anybody who's been in real estate for a while, because now I know you're on to bigger and better things too. You're obviously killing it in your real estate business, but you're also big on real estate investing and you have investing in general, right? You have diversification on multiple things that we've talked about before. So, guys, she's a wealth of knowledge. And I'm going to steal your line here, Elizabeth, real quick. If there's some place that someone might want to reach out to you and contact you to maybe discuss something further, whether about real estate investing or gymnastics or anything, where would that be?
Oh man. Well, I'm probably not as present on social media as I should be, but you can send me an email,
That's perfect.
Allie at kellycookhomes.com. Yeah, and I'd love to chat to any new agents. Anything I can do to help, feel free to reach out.
Awesome, guys. If you're inspired at all by Allie, I would highly recommend to do that because she has a great heart and she will take the time to get back to you and answer questions you have. So awesome, Elizabeth.
This was wonderful. Thank you so much, Allie, for being here.
Thank you.
And, if you guys are maybe not newer agents and you want to have somebody like Allie on your team, you need to build a real estate team, and you can go find Kelly's blueprint for how he did it, how he got somebody like Allie to come work with him and kind of, building up the next generation of agents, really. I mean, that's kind of what you're doing, right, Kelly?
Yeah, and now Allie's doing the same thing too with agents. She's mentoring and coaching as well.
Yep.
So yeah, absolutely.
Building the family. So if you want to build your own real estate team, go to buildyourrealestateteam.com and download the plan that Kelly has, successfully implemented in his own business. So go there. And Kelly, if anybody wants to reach out to you to talk about any of that, where can they reach you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a little more bold than Allie. I put that out there. My cell phone, 480-227-2028.
He's not worried about strangers contacting him. So
I could do that too. I didn't know if that was weird.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's pause here. Allie, what's your cell? You want to put it out?
Okay, it's 480-242-9132.
Okay. Awesome. And my email, Kelly@kellycookhomes.com. Email, text, call. We'll get back to you and go from there. So thank you guys.
awesome. Thank you guys for a great podcast today. And everybody, we will be back next week with a new topic for you. We will see you then. Bye, guys.
See you guys.
Bye.
Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.